everyone, this is Dr. M. Lakshmi Devi, Associate Professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So in this lecture, we will discuss the different types of errors occurring in measurement systems. So before going into the discussion of different types of errors, let us see the definition of error first. So error we can define it as it is the difference between the actual value and the measured value. So actual value it is also called as true value. So what is true value means? True value is nothing but the value which is calculated from rated values. So we will understand it with the help of one example. What is measure? Next is measured value. So measured value is the value which is calculated or the value which is obtained from the measurement system or instrument. So we can define so from notation by notation delta A is equal to error is defined as error. It is also called as static error. So it is denoted by delta A is equal to A suffix m minus A suffix t, where am is the measured value and at is true value. And the next one we have here is percentage error. So percentage error is absolute error expressed in terms of percentage. So that is so the different ways in which error can be expressed is absolute error and percentage error. So absolute error is am minus at by at, where am is measured value and at is the true value. And we can express error in terms of percentage value. So percentage error is given by am minus at by at into 100. So percentage error is nothing but absolute error expressed in percentage. So there are some other errors which are specified by the manufacturer. So that is called as guaranteed accuracy error. So in short, it is called as GAE. That is guaranteed accuracy error. So guaranteed accuracy error is specified by the manufacturer. So it is defined in terms of the full scale value. So let us understand it with the help of one example. Suppose there is an instrument and it has a full scale value of 5 amperes. Suppose it has a full scale value of 5 amperes. That means it can read from 0 to 5 amperes. So this is the scale and the maximum range for this meter is 5 amperes. So guaranteed accuracy error for this meter or for this instrument can be defined as, so GAE is equal to 1 by 100 into 5. That comes out to be 5 by 100, which is equal to 0.05. Then another term related to error is limiting error. So limiting error is nothing but So limiting error is defined in terms of the reading which we have obtained. Suppose we have obtained a reading of some 2 amperes. So for this, um, for this reading, so limiting error is also expressed in terms of guaranteed accuracy error. So limiting error in terms of guaranteed accuracy error is this into full scale reading. FSR is nothing but full scale reading divided by the measured value. Suppose for the same instrument which has a full scale reading of 5 amperes, we want to find the limiting error, and the meter output is 2 amperes. Then for this, limiting error is given by 0.05 into divided by 2. So guaranteed accuracy error is 5 by 100 into full scale reading is divided by 2. 25 by 200. Which comes out to be 12.5. So this is percentage limiting error. So now we will discuss the different types of errors in measurement. So this is the classification of errors in measurement. So errors are classified into 3 types: gross error, systematic error, and random error. So systematic error is again classified into 3 types: instrumental error, environmental error, and observational error. So instrumental error is again classified into 3 types, so that we'll see afterwards. So first we'll see one by one gross error. So what is gross error? Gross error, it is the error which occurs due to human negligence. That is, it is mainly occurring due to human mistakes. So human can make mistakes when he is using the instrument, or when he is reading the or recording the values. So these may be due to loose connections, and due to improper reading of values, and reading the value before the steady state has reached, and etc. So these are some of the reasons because of which gross error can occur. So these errors, uh, as you know, they are because of human negligence. So they are not constant. So these errors, they vary from person to person. So depending upon the person, this error is different. So it is also called as variable error. So these errors can be eliminated by careful reading and recording of the data. So by means of careful reading and recording the data, these errors can be minimized. So uh, next is systematic error. So these are, as you know from the name itself, systematic error is not due to human negligence. It is due to the fault occurring due to the fault in the instrument. So these are constant errors. So because any person, if any person is taking the reading with the help of a faulty instrument, the same error will be, he will obtain the same error. So these are common for all the observers. So any person, if we are any person, if he is using the same instrument which is faulty, then he will get the same type of error. So these errors can be eliminated by doing calibration of the instrument. So let us see what is calibration. So calibration is now done in order to reduce the error. Sorry, calibration is done in order to determine the error. So in order to determine the error and the accuracy, and to verify the accuracy of the instrument or the device, calibration is done. So what is calibration is? Calibration is nothing but it is an act or it is an act of comparing a device under measurement, a device which is under test of unknown value with a reference standard of known value. So calibration, for example, weighing scale. So we need to calibrate the weighing scale. So weighing scale is calibrated so that if there is no weight, then it has to show the 0 mark. So calibration of the weighing scale is done in order to adjust the pointer to the 0 before taking any measurement. So that is what calibration is. So next is observational error. So these are caused due to wrong observations or reading in the instrument. So the main type of error which is occurring due to observation is parallax error. So parallax error, so here we will see with the help of two examples. So in the first picture, we can see there is a beaker and in it we have some liquid, and this there is a scale here by means of which we can determine up to what level the liquid is filled in the beaker. So in order to determine the level of liquid in the beaker, suppose we see from this position, then in this position, due to parallax error, so in this position, so we will get we will get the reading somewhat here at this position. So if the eye is at this position, so in this case we will get the reading somewhere below here. And if the eye position is here in this position, then in this case we can get the level of the liquid, accurate level of liquid. So in order to avoid parallax error, the position of the eye should be perpendicular to the plane of the scale. So in this case, there will not be any parallax error. So the eye position must be perpendicular to the plane of the scale. So by using this position, we can determine the accurate level of liquid in the beaker without any parallax error. So in the second picture, this is 1 meter or instrument. You can see here there is a pointer, and this is the shadow. This is the shadow of the pointer. So if we take the reading from this side, then we will get inaccurate values of the. Then we will get inaccurate value. So if our eye position is perpendicular to the plane of the scale, then we can get accurate value here. So the pointer and this, there is a mirror placed here in which we can see the shadow of the pointer. So shadow of the pointer and this pointer should coincide. So in that case, if the eye is placed, then we can get accurate value of the reading. So this is how parallax error can be eliminated. Next is environmental error. So these are mainly caused due to the external environmental conditions in which the instrument has to work. So external environmental conditions like temperature, pressure, humidity, all these affect the working of the instrument. So for example, resistor. So resistor is a passive element, so whose working depends upon the temperature of the environment. If the temperature goes on increasing, so resistance value depends upon temperature. So these errors can be eliminated by maintaining the humidity and temperature constant. So next is instrumental error. So instrumental error is mainly due to hysteresis, error and faulty and shortcomings of the instrument, then aging effect, then frictional error, etc. Then another cause of instrumental error is misuse of instrument. So choosing wrong range of an instrument, and the other type of instrumental error is loading effect. So these are the main causes, or these are the different types of instrumental error. So instrumental errors we can classify into three: loading effect, misuse of instruments, and inherent shortcomings of the instrument. So we'll see one by one. Loading effect. Loading effect is the most common errors which is committed by beginners is improper use of an instrument for measurement. For example, we'll consider this with an example. A well-calibrated voltmeter may give a misleading voltage reading when it is connected across high resistance circuit. For example, consider a circuit. There are two resistors, R1 and R2. The source voltage is 10 volts and R1 is equal to 5 mega ohms. R2 is equal to 10 mega ohms. So, voltage across the resistor V2 is equal to, V2 is equal to, so this resistance 10 divided by into 10. So it comes out to be as 6.66 volts. So the voltage which is occurring across the resistor R2 is 6.66 volts. Now let us consider the same circuit, and if we use a voltmeter here, so consider the internal resistance of the voltmeter Rm is equal to 10 mega ohms. So remaining parameters are same. So this is 5 mega ohms and this one is 10 mega ohms. So here in this case, so meter resistance is in parallel with the resistance R2. So when we are finding the voltage across V2, so V2 will be 10 divided by 5 plus these two resistors are in parallel. So this value comes out to be 5 volts. So thus we can see that, so if we place a voltmeter which is having a very high resistance, so the resistance of the resistance is decreased. So total resistance comes out to be in parallel and the resistance is decreased. So thus the voltage which we are measuring with the help of voltmeter will be less than the actual voltage which happens to be, that is 6.66 volts. So this is nothing but the loading effect of voltmeter. So thus voltmeter has a loading effect on the circuit, and it affects the actual circuit current conditions by the measurement process. The same is applicable to ammeter also. So in case of ammeter, we connect an ammeter in series with the circuit to measure the current. So generally ammeter has low internal resistance. So when we connect this low resistance internal ammeter with some resistance, then the total resistance will increase. So thus the circuit properties will be affected. So thus in this, thus loading effect is nothing but the electrical properties of the circuit are affected uh, due to the measuring instrument, that is the voltmeter, or it can be a voltmeter or it can be an ammeter. So next is misuse of instrument. So in instrumental error, other cause of instrumental error is misuse of instrument. A good instrument must be used. If it is used in an unintelligent way, it can give erroneous results. That means if the instrument is not used properly, for example, we have to adjust the zero of the instrument. So then another cause of misuse of instrument is poor initial adjustments and using leads of high resistance. Next is inherent shortcomings of instrument. So these errors, they are caused due to the shortcomings of the instrument. So it can be due to construction. These shortcomings can be in the construction, or it can be due to improper calibration, or it can be due to uh, mm, the operation of the instrument. So these errors may cause the instrument to read too low or too high value. So for example, if there is a spring, so spring is used in instruments. So we will see the function of this spring in instruments. So spring is used in instruments, that is permanent magnet instruments, uh, and if it is not operated properly, so it has, if the spring of a permanent magnet, it becomes weak, then the instrument will read high value. So errors can be caused due to friction, hysteresis, or even gear backlash. So these are some of the inherent shortcomings of the instrument. Then another type of error is random error. So the last one is random error. So we have seen the errors which occur due to unknown sources. So random error is the error which occurs due to unknown cause. So there is no particular cause in order to determine the reason of random error. So it is not possible to eliminate or minimize these errors. So but we can compensate for random error by using these methods. So take more number of readings by different observers. So for the same experimental setup, we can take more number of readings, and for these readings, we can perform statistical analysis. So statistical analysis, it involves taking the mean, median, variance, standard deviation. So let us discuss one by one in detail. So these are the statistical analysis we can perform. So mean, median, variance, deviation, and standard deviation. So mean we can calculate. So mean value we can obtain. Mean is nothing but the average value. So mean is nothing but the average value. So we can calculate the mean value by using the following formula. So x1 plus x2 plus and so on up to xn divided by n. Here x1, x2 and so on up to xn are the readings. These are the value of the readings, and n is the number of readings. So mean can be obtained as mean is nothing but the average value for n number of readings. So where x1, x2 and xn are the value of reading. So median, the another is median. So here median is calculated So in order to determine the median, first we have to arrange the values in ascending order. So in order to determine the median, we have to arrange the values in ascending order. So consider there are some, suppose these are the numbers, so these are the readings which we have taken. So for this value, the median will be 6. So here we have odd number of readings. So for this value, so for these readings, the median is 6. Suppose we have even number of readings. So in this case, so 1, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So in this we can see that there are 6 readings obtained. So median is calculated by 6 plus 7 divided by 2. 13 by 2, which comes out to be 6.5. Now, so this is how median can be calculated. Next is deviation. So variance we will see afterwards. Next, deviation. So deviation is nothing but it is denoted by the letter I. So deviation for each value has to be calculated. So di for xith value is di is equal to xi minus m, where m is nothing but, where m is the average value or the mean value, where I is the ith reading, di is the deviation of the ith value, and xi is the value of the ith reading, and m is the mean value. So in this way, we can find out the deviation. Next is standard deviation. So standard deviation is denoted by the letter sigma. Sigma is equal to square root of d1 square plus d2 square, d3 square and so on up to dn square divided by n. This root is for whole. Then variance is nothing but, it is denoted by the letter V. V is equal to sigma square. So V is equal to sigma square. So these are the important statistical analysis we can perform to eliminate the random errors. So static characteristics are, these are the performance characteristics of an instrument. So some of which are desirable, whereas some of them are undesirable. So these characteristics, they determine the quality of the measurements taken. So for example, static characteristics include range, reproducibility, repeatability, then accuracy, precision, stability, bias, threshold, drift, etc. So these are some of the static characteristics. So let us discuss one by one. So first one is range. Range of an instrument is defined as the upper and lower limits of an instrument. So consider, for example, if we have an ammeter. So here in the ammeter, this is the scale, and there is a point. This scale is marked from 0 to suppose 5 amperes. So 0 to 5 amperes, 1, 2, 3 and so on, up to 5 amperes it can measure. So here the range of the, so this is defined as the range of the instrument. So the upper limit is 5 amperes, whereas the lower limit is, so from 0 it can measure up to 5 amperes. So in addition to range, we have span also. So span is defined as the difference between the higher limit and the higher limit and the lower limit of an instrument. So that is called as span. Next is reproducibility. So reproducibility and repeatability. So these are a measure of closeness with which a given input may be measured over and over again. So both of them, reproducibility indicates same values. We have to get the same values even when the experimental, for the same experimental setup, when it is conducted at different period of time. So that is what reproducibility is. Whereas repeatability indicates that means we have to get the same values over and over again, uh, even if they are measured. And but here, in case of the difference between repeatability and reproducibility is that repeatability includes we have the condition, we are taking the instruments, sorry, we are taking the measurement for the same period of time. Next is accuracy. So accuracy is the closeness with which an instrument reading approaches the true value of the quantity which is being measured. So accuracy determines the true value of the quantity. So whatever is the true value of the quantity, so um, that has to be indicated by the instrument. Then that instrument is said to be accurate. So for example, if this is the circuit, if this is the circuit in which we have a resistor of 10 ohms and this is 5 volts. So here current in this circuit I will be equal to, I is equal to V by, that means 5 by 10, which is equal to 1 by 2 amperes. So in this case, the true value, so even if we place an ammeter here in this circuit, so if we place an ammeter here, so ammeter is indicated by the symbol, by a circle, and inside we have the letter A. So this is 10 ohms and this is 5 volts. So the same current must be measured by the ammeter also. So I must be equal to 0.5 amperes. So this is the true value of the, so if the ammeter of the instrument, if this, in this example, if the ammeter is measuring the same current, then we can say that the instrument is accurate, or the ammeter which we are using is accurate. Next one is precision. So precision is the degree of closeness of reading with the previous reading. So suppose we are using an instrument for taking a reading. Then first reading we have obtained is first reading we have obtained as 5 amperes. So second time also we have to obtain, we have to get second time also, if we are getting 5 amperes, then we can say that, or nearer to about suppose 4.99, or we can get some 5.01 amperes, then we can say that the instrument is precise. So the instrument is said to be precise when there is negligible difference between successive readings. So difference between precision and accuracy is, precision refers to precision means there should not be any difference between the successive readings, whereas accuracy refers to there should not be any difference in the true value of the quantity or the reading. Next one is sensitivity. So sensitivity is, it refers to least change in measured value to which an instrument or device will respond. So sensitivity can be defined as the ratio of, suppose this is the input and output relationship for a quantity, then sensitivity is defined as the change in input divided by the change in output. So this difference, the sensitivity is defined as the change in input divided by the change in output. So this input and output, it can be any parameter like current, voltage, etc. So the ratio of change in output of an instrument to a change in value of the quantity to be measured is known as sensitivity. Next one is linearity. So here linearity is the input-output relationship must be linear. So most of the systems, they require linear behavior. So linearity is very important property of a measuring system or instrument. So for So here the input-output relationship must be linear. So this is an important property of an instrument. Next is hysteresis effect. So hysteresis is a phenomenon which depicts different output effects when loading and unloading. So in simple terms, we can say that suppose there is an ammeter, it has a scale. So up to some 5 amperes it can read. So if we are taking, so if the current has to be measured, then in this case, if we are increasing, suppose it measures some 1 amperes at one instant of time, and at another so up to 5 amperes we are taking the readings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 readings we are taking. So for any measurement we are taking 5 readings, and if we are performing the experiment in the reverse order, that means first we are starting with 5 amperes and then decreasing the effect in such a way that, so this is during the reverse operation. So even in this case also, the readings what we are getting must be same, 1 ampere, 2 amperes, 3 amperes, and so on. So thus hysteresis is a phenomenon which depicts different output effects when loading and unloading. Threshold. So threshold can be defined as the minimum value, so below which there is no change in input. So if the instrument input is increased from 0, so there will be some minimum value for which we cannot detect any change in output. So this minimum value is called as threshold of the instrument. Next one is dead time and dead zone. So dead time is defined as the time which is required by the measurement system to respond to a change in the measurand. So measurand is nothing but the quantity which has to be measured. So related to dead time, we have dead zone also. So dead zone is defined as the largest change of input quantity for which there is no output of the instrument. Suppose, so this is the input output relay. This is the curve which we are obtaining. So this is the dead time. This is the dead zone. So for which there is no output of the instrument. Next is resolution. So resolution indicates, so resolution is if the input is increased slowly from some input value, so the output will not change until a certain increment is exceeded. So this increment is called as resolution or discrimination of the instrument. So resolution is, next is tolerance. So tolerance is the highest allowable error that is specified in terms of certain values while measuring. This is specified in terms of the rate, in terms of rated values of the instrument. Suppose the instrument is rated for some 10 amperes, then even if there is satisfactory working of the instrument above 10 amperes also, then that value is called as the tolerance of the instrument. Then drift. Drift is the change in instrument output over time when the true value is constant. So it is nothing but the deviation of the value from the true value. So that is called as drift. Next, error is, so this is undesirable characteristic. So error is the undesirable characteristic of an instrument. The most important characteristic of an instrument is its accuracy. So accuracy of an instrument is measured in terms of error. So error is defined as the difference between measured value and true value. So we can let us see what is true value and what is measured value. So true value of a quantity is defined as the average of an infinite number of measured values when the average deviation due to various contributing factors is 0. So in short, we can say that true value is the actual value which we have to obtain. So without any error. So measured value is the value which is obtained from the measuring system or the measuring instrument. True value can be indicated by AT and measured value can be indicated by AM. So there are some other definitions related to error. So we can define error in terms of absolute error, then relative error and percentage error. So absolute error is it is defined as the magnitude of the difference between measured value and true value of the quantity is called as absolute error of the measurement. That is, we can write it as delta A is equal to measured value minus true value. The magnitude of this is called as absolute error. Then relative error is the ratio of absolute error to the true value. So relative error is delta epsilon r is equal to absolute error by absolute error divided by the true value of the quantity. Next one is percentage error. So when we are specifying this epsilon r in terms of percentage, so that is called as percentage error. It is also called as percentage error is also called as percentage static error. Next is guaranteed accuracy error. So guaranteed accuracy error is specified in terms of full scale value. So this error is specified by the manufacturer and it is given in terms of the full scale reading of the instrument. For example, there is a guaranteed suppose the manufacturer has specified that the instrument has 1% guaranteed accuracy error, and if the full scale value is 5 amperes or 25 amperes we can take, then we can say that the guaranteed accuracy error is 1% of 25, which it comes out to be as 0.25 amperes. So this is the error specified by the manufacturer. So next is limiting error. So limiting error is the maximum allowable error in measurement, which is specified in terms of true value is called as limiting error. So it is with respect to true value and it is a variable error. So what we are taking the measurement. So for a particular value, limiting error is calculated.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.